We're back. Thanks, everybody. Jen fixed it. Jen, do you want to mute, though? I'm hearing all your clickies.
Yeah.
Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. I don't know what happens. I don't know why it does that. For some reason, it kicks YouTube and TikTok at the same time. Damn, just when I was pissing them all off, too. Wonder if that could be mass reporting. I don't know how that works. Wouldn't make sense that it would be both of them, though, right? Are they on the same server, do you think? Or not server? What, like, are they hosted by the same place?
It's possible. I mean, I don't know.
Let's see. Are they hosted by the same company? Let's see. Who hosts them, though? Let me know. Still frozen after leaving and coming back? I don't see any YouTube viewers coming through either. Is YouTube up? Don't see. There's TikTok. I see TikTok here. Hello, TikTok.
Yeah, YouTube's there.
Okay. TikTok's not loading into the main chat. Let me see if I can get it to load into the main chat. Or I might just have to open up a second box. Okay, let me move TikTok over here. For whatever reason, TikTok's not loading into the main chat. Go here. And we'll see if we get some of the raging MAGA back. All right, I would stay on Twitch too if I were you. It's a better product, and it never ever crashes. It'd be sweet if one day we could just go all to Twitch. That'd be awesome. I would love that. No, just tried YouTube.
There's a new YouTube link. It's not the same one.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So if people are trying to use the old link, that's why it's not working. I ended that one.
All right, here we go. Let's jump back into old Trumpy Bear then. This was my favorite part when he forgot that Iceland is not Greenland. This part made me happy. He's so low energy when there's nobody to like cheer for him, when he doesn't see his friends in his MAGA hats.
I don't know that they'd be there for us. They're not there for us on Iceland, that I can tell you. I mean, our stock market took the first dip yesterday because of Iceland. So Iceland's already cost us a lot of money. But that dip is peanuts compared to what it's gone up.
Even if he got it right, that it was Greenland, it's still you. You're still the reason that the stock market went down. That's what's crazy about Trump. He's like, if people don't do what I say and the stock market reacts, it's their fault, not my fault for demanding that they give us their country. Now then he goes into for a Dodge drafter. He sure loves to take credit for the military. He sure loves to talk about World War II for a guy who refused to serve.
And then after the war, which we won it big. Without us, right now you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps. After the war, we gave Greenland back.
I was unaware that we had Greenland. Did we? I was unaware that before World War II, we owned Greenland. Is this news to anybody else? Could you imagine sitting there as people with brains and not like a MAGA audience? Like, we're used to him saying stuff that makes no fucking sense. But can you imagine them experiencing this for the first time? Like, what the fuck is he talking about? We gave it back? Is MAGA got back yet? Like, when did we have Greenland? How did we give back Greenland? We never had it.
A little Japanese, perhaps. After the war, we gave Greenland back to Denmark. How stupid were we to do that?
Did we trade Baltic Avenue and Marvin Gardens for it? Maybe. I might have missed that. Look at him look up here, too. Like he just nailed it. He's looking up to an audience that's like, what the fuck is he talking about?
But we did it. But we gave it back. But how ungrateful are they now? So now our country...
They're not even grateful for that thing that didn't happen. It's crazy. They need to be grateful.
And the world face much greater risks than it did ever before because of missiles, because of nuclear, because of weapons of warfare that I can't even talk about. 2 weeks ago, they saw weapons that nobody ever heard of.
This was my favorite part where he's like, now everybody's in danger because of these weapons that we keep using on other countries. Yeah, dude. They're worried that you're going to use our weapons against them so that oil companies can get more oil. Yeah, you're talking about what you did. You can't scare countries. Like, there's so many bad people. There's Russia and China. They're going to use weapons. Who used the weapons? Well, that's fucking, we did that. We did the weapons.
They weren't able to fire one shot at us. They said, what happened? Everything was discombobulated. They said, we've got them in our sights. Press the trigger, and nothing happened. And then after the war, which...
Pressing the trigger and nothing happening is the plight of most MAGA men. I'm pushing on it. I'm pulling on it. Won't do anything. I hate trans people now. It's every MAGA person. Let me open this up here. Well, welcome to all the new subscribers, by the way, on Twitch. I hope you enjoy your stay. I hope that it treats you well. Amy said, people in the chat saying windmills do not make the energy. The turbine does. Do they not know what a mill is? No, of course not. Of course not. I missed those. Is that what they said?
Well, actually, technically, it's not the windmills. It's not the wind. It's the turbine.
Oh, okay. All right. That was my favorite. That was my favorite part from Trump. And the audience goes deathly quiet. Then this. Give us your countries, guys. You owe us. You don't exist without us. Give us your countries. He's doing a shakedown in front of world leaders. I laugh I'm laughing because it's pathetic. And I think we're used to it. But this must be alarming and shocking for anybody who's watching him for the first time. It must be blowing their minds. Like, how the fuck did this guy become the leader? They voted him back in? He was saying this shit the whole time? This isn't even new? Yeah, this is what he's like always. And America voted him in. Ty said, does he confuse Iceland for Greenland? Yes.
So we want a piece of ice for world protection, and they won't give it. We've never asked for anything else, and we could have kept that piece of land, and we didn't, so.
Once again, we didn't have Greenland. I think he might be like, we had military bases there during World War II. It wasn't ours. He's also calling it a piece of ice now, which I think is bizarre. And once again, what the fuck do we need it for? Why do we need Greenland? Did any of those MAGA cucks make it back? What do we need Greenland for? I can't figure it out. In between Greenland and Russia are all of our NATO allies. It sounds to me like what Trump's saying is we need Greenland because we're going to let Russia take you guys over. That's what it sounds. The only scenario where Russia would be a threat to us through Greenland is if all of our allies were wiped out first. Doesn't it sound an awful lot like he's saying we're just going to let Russia do its thing? Russia wants everything, but Russia wanted Ukraine. We didn't take that. I think he wants NATO to be on their own to help Russia. And he doesn't completely trust Russia. So he's like, we need Greenland, and he'll take that, and then he'll get out of the way. Say, do your thing, Russia. And the MAGA people that support it, they don't even really support it. They just don't want to disagree with Trump. So now they've all become like murderous conquistadors. You guys just want to go around the world and steal other people's land. It is alarming how quickly you went from anti-war to let's do all the war. All it took was one dipshit to convince you.
They have a choice. You can say yes, and we will be very appreciative. Or you can say no, and we will remember.
We're threatening them again. Give us your land, give us your country, or else. This is what Hitler did. This is a dark moment for America. Incredibly dark. He knows who he's talking to. He didn't write this speech. He's telling them, give me what I want, or we'll either let you die or we'll attack. There we are. There's MAGA. MAGA's back.
So now you support Russia or China?
Listen, I don't have to, by saying that we don't need to steal other countries, that doesn't mean that I support anybody else. I don't support stealing other countries. I don't support threatening our allies. It is a baby-brained response to just like anytime somebody disagrees with Trump, you're like,
Oh, so what? You'd rather the Chinese be in charge?
nope. I would just rather we not take fucking Greenland. I would rather we keep our trade deals and our relationships with our allies in a good spot. I would rather we advocate for peace. I don't know why we're threatening our friends. And you don't know either. All you know is that Donald Trump's dick is supposed to be in your mouth, and so you do it. You don't know why either. He can't explain it. He just said we're building a golden dome over North America. Of course, we're not fucking doing that. Of course, that's not happening. It's just that Donald Trump said it, and I disagree, so you have to be mad at me.
So we want a piece of ice.
All right. Keep going with the nonsense here. This was my favorite part. Donald Trump, who demands a prize every time he takes a shit, demands praise for every little dumb thing he does, demands money from everybody, is shaking down all of our allies, now has the audacity to say, we never get anything out of this. Ryan said, if countries boycott us, we deserve it. It's sad. It is sad he has. Yeah, they're going to. It's going to hurt us. MAGA's 100% okay with a self-inflicted wound here. There's no fucking reason to do any of this other than Donald Trump is a maniac and he has a bunch of rich people trying to get him to do stuff for him because they don't care about you either. Janelle said, I love your emotional rants, and when you call them bitches, you're speaking for all of us. Thank you. Amber said, red states could use a bit of emotional regulation. Red states have the highest violent crime, murder, suicide, and gun violence. Get some fucking therapy. Therapy's gay. That's the answer.
We never asked for anything, and we never got anything. We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force, where we would be, frankly, unstoppable. But
he's been going around the world collecting money for his friends, shaking down all of our allies for investment into his friends' companies. And then he shows up and pouts. We don't ever get anything. I'm going to use my military to take all of your stuff. Crazy. Why? Why the fuck? Why the fuck are you supporting this? Got like the IQ of a banana.
I won't do that. Okay? Now everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the biggest statement I made because people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force.
This is confusing. You just said you would.
I won't use force. We never.
Isn't that weird? He's like, I'm going to use force. I'm not really going to do it. Nobody trusts him. He has no integrity. Like, why would anybody trust anything Donald Trump says? He has lied about everything. Sorry, I apologize. I do need to apologize. That was very insulting to bananas. That's on me. I apologize for that. The thing is that for MAGA that's here, nobody on the world stage thinks he's tough. Nobody on the world stage thinks he's worth doing business with. They're all now meeting and they're like, what are we going to do about this guy? How are we all going to collectively work against America? And that's all of us. Now, all of these countries collectively want to work against us. And you might say we could win in a war. True. We could win. I'm not looking for a world war. What happened to the idea of like negotiation? What happened to that's an American value. That's why our Congress is set up the way that it is. You never get what you want. You negotiate, you compromise. And one petulant child, one spoon-fed titty milk boy, Donald Trump, shows up, who every time he doesn't get what he wants, throws a tantrum. And you guys start going, you know what, maybe that's the way, maybe that's what America needs to be. Maybe we need to be tantrum throwers. Maybe every time we don't get our way, we should just call everything rigged. Maybe if we don't understand something and we pretend that we do, and then it turns out that we don't understand it, instead of changing direction, maybe we should just lie. Maybe we should just say dumb shit like other countries pay tariffs. Maybe we should just, because and it's fine because MAGA doesn't know. They don't read shit. How did you all become the type of people who are like, let's have the person that leads us be a fucking toddler who just complains every time he doesn't get his way? It's pathetic. I fucking hate being represented by the dumbest Americans. I hate that every country looks at us like, did all of you repeatedly slam your head against the wall for years? No, this is just the South. This is just Republicans. They've been attacking education for a decade, saying that, like, literally, you guys are the same people that don't, like, half you don't believe in dinosaurs. Well, actually, there are dinosaurs, but God put them there because the Earth is only 6,000 years old. This is what happens. They made all of purposely. The richest people spent all this money to put you in schools where you didn't learn anything and where you have been conditioned to believe that science and English and math, that's all indoctrination. But your religious studies, that's not indoctrination. You all say things like that, like you talk about your religion and your faith and Jesus, and you talk about it factually. These things are true. I feel it in my heart. And then you're like, science? Nah, dude, science is dumb. I don't trust the experts. I don't trust the experts on science. I go with my gut. This is what we get. We get the whole world looking at us like we're dummies. And then some people watching the whole world looking at us like we're dummies and going,
No, actually, I'm probably the smart one. Me, the guy rage commenting on YouTube in the middle of the day on a Wednesday. I actually probably see it with more nuance than they do. I'm just insulting this host for 3 fucking hours, but I'm actually the one with nuance here.
I don't blame any of these countries. I don't blame a single one of them. Let's go here. Here's Trump saying we paid. This is a perfect example, actually. Great timing. This is an example of MAGA brains. You can say something factual, and then instead of staying on facts, you say, but actually the number is this number, and that's what I believe, with no proof whatsoever. This is only somebody who doesn't understand numbers and who also understands that their cult will believe anything they say could utter a sentence like this.
Them for so many years, we've never gotten anything, except we pay for NATO. And we paid for many years until I came along. We paid for, in my opinion, 100% of NATO because they weren't paying their bills.
We have never paid 100% of NATO. Why is that your opinion? I agree, Brownus. This guy, Donald Trump, has no balls whatsoever. Bro, how many more insane things does he have to say before you guys go, yeah? We paid for 100% of NATO? Brown asks, I don't sit down to pee. I squat, but that's just how your dad likes it. That way I can just like rock my hips and I can go from like belly button to mouth. And I could just, with a simple rock, he likes it everywhere. He doesn't like it in one spot. So it's more of a squat than a sit down really when I pee. But the rocking is a motion that he appreciates. And he still owes me $85, by the way. Tell him I didn't forget about the money he owes me. And I dehydrated myself on purpose too. He asked me to be dehydrated. Yellow and smelly, he said, and I did it. And he still didn't pay me all the money. Back to Donald Trump.
NATO because they weren't paying their bills. And all we're asking for is to get Greenland, including right title and ownership, because you need the ownership to defend it. You can't defend it on a lease.
Of course you can. Of course you can defend it. We already did that. We already defended Greenland when we didn't own it. We had like 12 military bases there.
Number one, legally it's not defensible that way, totally. And number two,
legally, it's not defensible that way, totally. What? Huh? MAGA, I'm going to need an explanation. What does that mean? Legally, it's not defensible totally. Explain that to me. Now MAGA's going to insult me instead of explain this. Watch the chat. They're all just going to insult me. There we go. Brown ass, you sound illiterate. There it is. Yep, right on cue. It's great. I'm like a wizard here. Goggle it. Good try. What's he saying here? What does this mean, please? We need dumb interpretation from you. We need the dumbest people to explain this. Now go look at Biden's debates. Yeah. You insult people instead of answering. That's what you're doing. The question is, brown ass, and again, your dad owes me money for peeing on him. What the fuck does he mean? What does this mean that you can't defend something without the title? Fuck does that mean? Do countries have a title? Do you get a title when you buy a country? Maybe Nick Shirley can define it for me. None of you have an answer for that? No, we're just going to insult you. We don't know either. We just pretend this isn't happening. All right, we'll go back.
Totally. And number two, psychologically, who the hell wants to defend a license agreement or a lease?
Huh? Who wants to defend a license agreement? This guy lost his fucking mind. A license agreement? He's probably thinking of his business because Donald Trump is so fucking bad at real estate that literally nobody will give him any money to do a real estate project. So he does licensing agreements, which means that he gets a percentage of royalties for his name. And sometimes he'll get a percentage of ownership. But no bank will actually let him develop because he's a dipshit and he's a con man and he defaults on all of his loans. So all these Trump properties that you're seeing, they're actually owned by Dubai, the UAE, you know, all these people that funded 9/11, and they just put Trump's name on it and they give him a little bit of a kickback. This man has lost his fucking mind. He's talking about a license agreement for Greenland, a lease. He doesn't want a lease or a license agreement. He wants the title to Greenland. Explain it. Explain it. Mute brown ass. Brown ass, you're a bitch. I'm tired of you today. I've asked you question after question. You just keep insulting me. And they're not even very good.
He has money. He has money. So we must worship him. He's so bad at business, he has money.
Yep. He was born with $300 million. And he went broke multiple times. And now he has money because he's running crypto pump and dump schemes because there's so many of you dipshits that you keep buying his shit. And when you stop buying his shit, Qatar and the UAE and Saudi Arabia buy his shit. And Russia buys his shit. Yeah, he's a con man. And you could, if you want to say he's smart for a con man, that's fine. But he's also a con man, which is how he's trying to run this country now. He's a fucking idiot. It's why, which again is why none of you can explain what he's doing. You can just keep saying, he's smarter than you. Why don't you know what he's saying? How come none of you know what the fuck this guy's saying? All you know is that I must be wrong and he must be right. You want to explain it? Any of you? No thanks? Cool. But don't worry, Trump has a lot of respect for the people of Greenland and Denmark. Doesn't mean any of this disrespectfully.
Tremendous respect for both the people of Greenland and the people of Denmark. Tremendous respect. But every NATO ally has an obligation to be able to defend their own territory. And the fact is, no nation or group of nations is in any position to be able to secure Greenland other than the United States. We're great.
Yeah, that's why we have NATO. That's why all these countries don't have nuclear weapons, because we got into an agreement with them. The reason that they don't have the ability to do what we do is not because we're so much greater than they are. It's because we said, we've got nukes, Russia has nukes, you guys don't need nukes because you're on our side. We're going to side this treaty with you. And we're going to act like we're going to be the superpower here. So we told them, you can't have weapons, but we have weapons. That way, there's no nuclear proliferation, and we're always going to be on the same side, until Donald Trump came in and misunderstood economics and misunderstood tariffs and misunderstood trade deficits. And now it's going so bad for him, and our economics are so fucked that now he's openly saying, like, we're stronger than you, so we're going to take it. That's why they don't have bigger militaries. I'm sorry, I don't want to be represented by somebody who just throws deals away, throws decades of trade and cooperation during war, where those people have sacrificed their lives for our country. By the way, we haven't been sacrificing for them. We've given money, but we're the ones dragging them to war all the time. They're losing lives for us. All these countries he's talking about, they've all had people die in our wars. And he's going to show up and be like, you guys haven't done shit. I don't know. I think we're a little bit responsible for a lot of their deaths. I think they showed up. I think the Canadians showed up. I think the French showed up. I think the Brits showed up. I think the Danes showed up. All these people showed up. And Donald Trump didn't show up, by the way. He pretended that his footies were hurting. My foot hurts. I can't go to war today. Sorry. And then decades later, you guys are all pussies. You do nothing for us. We never get anything in return. Well, I think we got a lot in return.
Great power, much greater than people even understand. I think they found that out 2 weeks ago in Venezuela. We saw this in World War II, when Denmark fell to Germany after just 6 hours of fighting and was totally unable to defend either itself or Greenland.
Yeah, and that's why we then, after that, put a bunch of bases on Greenland. And it's never happened again. Why? Because we have an alliance. And the United States, with all of our nuclear capacity and our weapons capacity, said, don't worry, Greenland, this will never happen again. You guys don't need to arm yourselves. You don't need to nuclear proliferate. We got you. We'll never turn our backs on you. And now it's like, give us your fucking land. Cool.
So the United States was then compelled. We did it. We felt an obligation to do it, to send our own forces to hold the Greenland territory. And hold it we did, at great cost and expense.
Donald's still mad because his family were American Nazis. They were on the other side of this. They didn't like that who we allied with during World War II. That's my best guess. Is that they thought we should have been on the side of Hitler, because there's a lot of accusations here of wrongdoing by our partners. Not a lot talking about Hitler invading other countries. Not a lot about currently Putin invading other countries. No. It's all the peaceful countries who aren't invading that are really the problem.
They didn't have a chance of getting on it, and they tried. Denmark knows that.
And all of this, I don't know, are we just doing this so that we don't have to release the Epstein files? It's a good time to remind you that although this guy is horrific at diplomacy, foreign policy, and trade, and he sucks at all of that, he's also currently running cover-up for the biggest pedophile ring in history. He's covering up for rich and famous and powerful people who abuse children and who would abuse every single person in this chat without a moment of hesitation. Donald Trump would take any of your lives if you had any evidence exposing him. If you were one of these people, Donald Trump would not hesitate to take your life to protect his own reputation. So while he goes and destroys us all over the world, ruins all of these relationships, it's a good time to remind you that here at home, he's also making sure that people who were abused by Jeffrey Epstein and his rich and powerful friends never see justice. So that's pretty cool. While he does his bullshit over there, he's also covering for pedophiles. And then the Republicans come in here today and they're like, you guys are atheist. You're socialist. None of those things are worse than covering for pedophiles. None of those things are worse than abandoning our allies. And if you live in a world where you think being a socialist or an atheist is worse than those things, then I'm worried that you don't understand socialism or Christianity or religion in general. Because that's not how this works. It's not what your book teaches. Totally lying. Watched you for 2 minutes later. Later, bitch. Who am I? FR Tho 8. What do you see? What am I? Tell me what I am. I'll engage. We see you for who you are now. What am I? It's gonna be baseless insults. He's not gonna have any evidence. He's just mad that I called out his pedophile-loving president and the fact that they're all Christians and they're pretending that this isn't happening. So they're all in on it too. So now he's gonna say the fact that I don't believe in God makes me a bad person. Go ahead, bud. Sorry, I was talking to somebody else, not you. What do you see me for? I'm advocating that we hold our end of the deal, that we don't attack other countries, and that we don't cover for pedophiles. And that, after I said that, you're like, now we see you for who you are. I have a picture of Trump with the Olsen twins. Is he going to come after me? That's a fair question. I'm going to be honest with you. Nobody cares about Trump's daughter. The fuck? That was your answer to me? That you don't care about the snake is the biggest problem right now? Are you on drugs? What's going on? The snake? Who is the snake? Voldemort? We talking about Voldemort right now? Was it Nagini or something like that? This is what I get for engaging with these guys. You ask them one question and it just descends immediately into chaos. All right. Where was I? I thought this was a good question. I'm going to break in because it has to do with Trump's last statement. But Maria Bartiromo, who's in full Russian attire for some reason, had on Howard Nutlick and asked a very good question. And he gives a very poor answer.
Go both ways.
What would you say if one of our allies said, look, we're going to go in and take over another country, even though the country said we're not interested? I mean, we talk all day and every day about evil action from Putin going into Ukraine. I mean, people are looking at this and saying, how is it possible that the U.S. can acquire another country, even though they're pushing back?
Well, I don't remember Greenland being another country. We're not taking over Denmark. It's just Greenland is in our hemisphere. It's far, far away from Denmark, as we know.
It's far, far away from us, too. Maine is slightly closer to Greenland than Denmark. Not by much. Slightly closer. I did have to look this up. I would have assumed that Denmark was closer. But he's like, it's not like we're taking a whole country. We're just taking part of it. That's the answer. They are going to take it. And yes, we should talk about this outfit and this brooch.
And it's 57,000 people, right, who are close to America, and it's important for us to...
No, they're close to Canada. If we're talking about whoever's closest, it's Canada. That's a good point. Alaska's closer to Russia than mainland U.S. Yeah, we'll give that away, too. Send Sarah Palin over there. He's saying, like, we're not taking, like, a lot of their country. We're just taking some of their country. Who are you going to give it to? Our billionaire friends. It will. Nobody in this chat will get a goddamn thing from any of this. It's just Trump's billionaire friends get something, and you get to finish. You get to beat off to Donald Trump taking another country. This was for me. Oh, this is for me. Oh, I love this so much. This is so much for me. I've been needing these resources. I need so many resources.
Make sure we protect the Western Hemisphere. The strength of America in the Western Hemisphere is vital for the world. When America shines, the world shines. We showed you that throughout 2025. I think the president's going to come.
Huh? 2025 is like one of the most violent years in history, or in recent history, not in history, in recent history. The United States is doing poorly. Are they trying to say 2025 was like this great year for the world? It was not a good year for the world.
Talk about it. He's going to meet with the European leaders. He's going to talk to them. And my guess is they'll work it out. But he wants them at the table. He wants them serious. Go both ways.
He wants their fucking country. I don't know why Fox News isn't going to be like, hey, bitch, we can't take someone's fucking country because we want it. You're like, oh, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe we should just take their country. The absolute lack of spine at Fox News. Not one of them could be like, hey, we don't do this. We don't go take other people's countries. Like, well, we should hear them out. Casca said the people in the control room at this conference must be rolling on the floor laughing the entire speech or asking if they can shut his mic off. He went for an hour and 40 fucking minutes, too. Just rambled incoherently. He talked about election fraud for like 20 minutes. You know, everybody in there is like, Jesus fucking Christ, what is this guy doing? It was just a campaign speech. Guy Fawkes said the word of the day is how do you say that? Kakistocracy. I think that's how you say it. I think I got that one from you too. Catch up on a couple messages here. That was from Asa Sophia said, sorry, I'm a bit alarmed and scared here in a tiny country in Iceland. And yeah, and he keeps saying your country accidentally that doesn't have an army. Real world implications. Just so you know, Asa Sophia, all the MAGA here wants you to know that their dumbasses don't care if you die. They could give a fuck about you. They just think it's cool that Donald Trump's going to try and steal some land. Let's see over here from Jen. Riot said the U.S. had military control during World War II. Jen, can you mute real quick? We never owned it. Denmark was taken over by the Nazis, and we established control through a deal with the ambassador to prevent the Nazis from using it. Thank you, Riot, the producer. Ryan said, if countries boycott us, we deserve it. Sad. Oh, I think I got that one. I get that. Okay. What's up, Jen?
I just figured I'd hop in and do a small announcement.
Please.
See if you want to add any other trolls. So how long do you think we'll go for the rest of the day?
I got a hard cutoff in 35 minutes.
All right. So you heard him, 35 minutes to knock out the gift goal. I think we're almost there. So if we wanted to hop on a dollar train, we could probably blow out that gift goal right on the edge of finishing our cheap-piece gift goal off. So we just did that with the gift goals. If you want to help us out, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats.
It's enough out of you.
What? I mean, you say lots of things. Why can't I have something?
Fair enough. Yeah, that's fair.
You don't let me have any fun.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyways, if you haven't already subscribed to us, please do so. On Twitch, you can use your Amazon Prime sub and use Bezos' money. You don't have to use your own. We have memberships on YouTube. If you want to join us for those member events on Mondays, we're watching some movies. And if you're on TikTok as well, you can join us anywhere that has a paid membership. You can join us for those members only events. Since we've got 35 minutes, and most of you won't anyways because you don't have balls. You could come up and have a conversation with RTP, and how you do that is the Venmo username is my Discord. You can send me a message and I can bring you up in real time. Check out the link in the bio. We're on most social media platforms. We've got merch. Jay's on Cameo. We upload these episodes to Spotify. If you cut off your left arm,
Yeah.
your right arm will be left.
No. No. Eli said Canada's preparing for Trump's invasion. We won't back down, which sucks because that might actually happen. I don't know how far Republicans are willing to go with this. Like we're very close to starting a war, and nobody can tell us why we're starting this war other than Trump wants it. Trump just wants that land, so we should take it. That is terrifying. Ty said they saw how we treated our own territory to Puerto Rico, and they said no thanks. Yeah, we talked about it yesterday, but they're like, what if we gave them $100,000? Cool, that'll pay for 4 years of healthcare here. They're not going to take that deal. Nobody wants 4 years of healthcare paid for and then just be fucked and be on America's shitty system for the rest of their life. Who the hell wants that? Here's the part where Trump rambled incoherently for some reason about the election of 2020. 6 years later, still talking about it.
Alliance, the United States is treated very unfairly by NATO. I want to tell you that. And when you think about it, nobody can dispute it. We give so much and we get so little in return. And I've been a critic of NATO for many years.
Yeah, weird. Weird how you've been friendly with Putin and Russia since the 80s. You've been doing business deals over there. They paid for you to go do trips, and then you would come back from those trips, and then all of a sudden you would put out some op-ed being critical of NATO. Weird how that worked out, wasn't it?
And yet I've done more to help NATO than any other president by far, than any other person. You wouldn't have NATO if I didn't get involved.
Yes, we would, because it was there before and it was there after. This is an insane thing that this person is saying that you guys are pretending is normal. Of course this isn't true. Why can't he tell the truth? NATO existed before he came. He was there for 4 years. Then it still existed the 4 years he was gone, and it exists again. He did not save NATO. Why do you guys let him do this? Why do you sit here and ignore the fact that this guy has lost his fucking mind?
In my first term, the war with Ukraine is an example. We are thousands of miles away, separated by a giant ocean.
Nice.
It's a war that...
I bet. How much do you want to bet he can't tell you what ocean it is? How much would you be willing to bet, MAGA, that if you asked Donald Trump what ocean that was, he would get the answer right? I don't think you'd be willing to bet a lot of money. How much would you bet that Donald Trump can't find Denmark on a map? I would bet a lot of money that Trump can't find Denmark on a map. Even with the words there, he still might struggle to find it. It's going to be small. I think you all know this guy is clueless. He just is just like full of fake bravado. And I think most of you that like him, that's what you have too. You pretend that like you're tough. You pretend that you know things. It's all just an act. You come online and act tough. That's what he does. No facts, all feelings, all bravado.
should have never started.
A bunch of people now are going to say, you don't provide facts either, as we're fact checking this. Watch.
And it wouldn't have started if the 2020 U.S. presidential election weren't rigged. It was a rigged election.
Sure.
Everybody now knows that. They found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did. It's probably breaking news, but it should be.
Who want to bet that nobody goes to jail for this? Now he's telling us that they're going to prosecute people for the 2020 election. There is a weird story coming out with this, by the way, from, I'll probably cover more of it tomorrow, but the DOJ had to admit yesterday that 2 members of the Doge team had access to sensitive Social Security data, and they were sharing it with like get out the vote groups. So the DOJ actually had to admit that Elon Musk's Doge stole our Social Security information and likely shared it with get out the vote groups. So maybe he's talking about them.
It was a rigged election. Can't have rigged elections. You need strong borders, strong elections, and ideally a good press. I always say it. Ideally
a good press. Well, we're covering you. We're fact checking you. But when he says good press, he means somebody who just licks his taint.
Strong borders, strong elections, free, fair elections, and a fair media. The media is terrible. It's very crooked. It's very biased, terrible. But someday it'll straighten out because it's losing all credibility. Think of it.
The silence from the crowd there, too. They're just stunned. We've been watching him do this for 9 years. Like, it doesn't shock us anymore. But they're like, what the fuck? This guy's talking about elections now? What the fuck is this guy at Davos talking about elections right now? Because he's a bitch and he cries, and that's what he does, and that's what MAGA is. That's what republicanism is. Just cry about everything. Everything's unfair. Everybody's here to pick on you. It's immigrants. It's socialists. It's communists. All the problems that exist are because of the left, and all the great things are because of the right. And Trump's just doing that in real time. And everybody over there who live in countries where it's not left versus right, where they have multiple different parties, and there's nuance to their politics. They're watching this just going like, what the fuck is going on? They all met after. Everybody but Trump. They're all meeting now, and they're figuring out how they're going to cut out the United States. Whether you like Trump or not, you think he's right or wrong, doesn't really matter. The whole world says he's wrong, and that will hurt us. And you guys would rather stick with Donald Trump and burn the thing to the ground than just acknowledge that the whole world doesn't want to work with him anymore. You would all watch our country be decimated and driven into poverty before you admit that you were wrong about Donald Trump. This affects all of us. It's not a good thing when Canada and Mexico are saying, hey, China, what's up? That's not good for you. It's good for your ego, I guess. Yeah, dude, they don't like Trump. He's just like everybody else who doesn't like Trump. And you think like, oh, maybe we're going to win, I guess. But what benefit, again, do you get from any of this? Do you get a benefit from Greenland? I'll ask one more time, and we'll just do this again. I'm going to ask you, MAGA, what benefit you get if we take Greenland. And MAGA is going to respond by insulting me. I'm going to read comments while we do this, but just one more time. What do you get from taking Greenland? Here come the insults. Back here. I think I got that one from Asta Sophia. Phil Power says, Epstein files, anything but the Epstein files. Casca says, so Jen will stop interrupting me from finishing. All right, let's check the comments here. No, if Trump is bad, put his ass out of office. We'd like to. The world thinks we are out of our minds. Missile defense, strategic military location. We already have that. Greenland, Denmark, they've already said we're welcome to have missiles there. We're welcome to work with them like we always have. Let's let China and Russia take Greenland instead. This is like where your lack of intelligence really shows. Greenland and China or Russia and China aren't trying to take Greenland. We're the only ones talking about it. And this is how like Trump works on so many dumb people. He's like, I'm about to do something corrupt. And you're like, word? And he's like, but if I don't do this corrupt thing, China will do it first. And you go, word. He could just do whatever he wants as long as he tells you that if he doesn't do it, China will do it. China's not trying to take Greenland. China's actually opening up trade negotiations with Denmark. Russia maybe eventually, but the easiest way for Russia to take Greenland is by Donald Trump getting out of the way and removing all the protections for NATO. If Trump had any spine at all and stood up to Putin, this war would be over. Same with Joe Biden. Neither one of them had the spine to stand up to Putin. We could end this war. Russia can't beat us. They won't. They won't fight that war. But Trump's now saying, like, fuck NATO. I'm not going to do anything to help you. And by the way, give me fucking Greenland. And then he'll just get out of the way. I'm fairly convinced that this is exactly what they said last week. What's his goddamn name now? Kevin Hassett was interviewed on Fox, and he said Trump is going to Davos this next week to unveil the new world order. And so you have to trust his administration when they say that, right? We have to trust that his administration is just not making this shit up. So when they told me to watch what Donald Trump does this week and says he's going to go out there and show, unveil the New World Order, and he says, we have the Western Hemisphere. Greenland is ours. We're going to build a golden dome over Canada, the United States, and North America. This is ours now. What he's saying is that Europe, sorry, you're with Russia now. We get Greenland because it's closer to us. Fuck all of you. That's what it looks like he's doing. Are we supposed? Is Kevin Hassett lying? If I'm wrong about this, which I admittedly I could be wrong. You could even say it's likely that I'm wrong. Could somebody explain what Kevin Hassett was talking about then? I can pull up the clip here so it's not out of context. If this isn't what Hassett's talking about, what is he talking about?
Davos, we know there's the big housing speech. What else can we anticipate?
There's also going to be some look at the new world order that President Trump is creating. And, a lot of countries that were, whining about tariffs 6 months ago and saying that President Trump was going to harm their economies had pretty good years. And I think it's in part because people recognize that President Trump has made it so that we are the shining city on the hill again. We are the engine of global economic growth because the U.S. is really that strong again.
So what's the new world order that Kevin Hassett's talking about? For somebody said Fox isn't trustworthy, I hear you. This guy works for Trump. He's in Trump's administration. He's probably going to be the next Fed chair. What's he talking about? Why did he say Trump's going to unveil the new world order? What's he talking about? If I'm wrong, just give me a different explanation. Another win for Trump, says Larry. Larry has no fucking clue. Larry just speaks in catchphrases. I'm convinced every day that Larry's not real. I told Jen that. I'm fairly certain Larry is a lib trying to troll, and you do an excellent job, Larry. This guy just fixates on 3 words Trump didn't say. I said that. I said, what did Kevin Hassett mean? You're fixating on words I didn't say, or you're missing words. I said, what did Kevin Hassett mean by this? So it's not about what Trump said. I know that everything revolves around Trump, but I'll ask you the same question. What does Kevin Hassett mean by this? Why did Kevin Hassett say Trump was going to do this?
Davos, we know there's the big housing speech. What else can we anticipate?
There's also going to be some look at the new world order that President Trump is creating.
Why did he say that? That's all I'm asking you. Don't get upset. Just tell me what he meant by that. Here it comes. We're going to have people talking about, it's going to be trans stuff, and it's going to be insulting me and no answer. Let's see. Banged. I bet you're okay with men and women's sports. God damn it, I'm good at this. God damn it, I'm good at this. I think it's funny that you have a problem with the term New World Order. No, I'm just asking what he fucking means by it, lolly. I don't have a problem that he said it. Tell me what the fuck he means. Don't just insult me. Answer a fucking question. What does he mean by that? Crash out coming. There you go. That's 3 comments from you now, Rally. 3 insults towards me. Still not answering the question. Everybody on TikTok, pay attention to our friend over here. I'm going to scroll. His name is Rally. And Rally has a lot of things to say, but Rally's just insulting. So everybody, let's focus on Rally here for a second. Rally. When Kevin Hassett talks about the New World Order, what does he mean? You could say, I don't know. You could say, your opinion. The one thing you shouldn't say here is something about me. Go ahead, Rally. The floor is yours. YouTube and Twitch, we'll tell you what Rally says here, because Rally has the answers. Go ahead, Rally. Rally said, poor choice in words for the second time, Buttercup. Nice. What did he mean? I didn't ask you if it was a poor choice of words. What did he mean? What is he saying? Do you not know? We'll go to YouTube. YouTube, you can be involved now. YouTube, Rally's struggling over here. Rally needs some fucking help. What did he mean? What did he mean when he brought up a new world order? There's no world order, never has been. Okay, then what did he mean? Why did he say that? Who cares? He's not in power. Oh, okay. So just say, I don't know. Let's see if Rally's capable. Rally, you are getting blocked forever if you don't say, I don't know. Any sort of objection is fine, but if you don't have the cojones to say, I don't know, we're going to get rid of you. Because I stopped the whole show for you, bud. The whole thing. You can't throw a fit and then be like, I don't even care anyways. So say, I don't know, or you got to go. Mods, let me know. G's, crash out and fixate much. Rally's gone. Thanks, Rally. Good try, bud. Anybody else? Stand up to Muslims? What the fuck are we talking about Muslims for? That you think Kevin Hassett was saying he was going to stand up to Muslims at Davos? That was the plan? Any of you? All right, cool. Just asking questions over here, trying to interpret your leaders our leaders are so smart. They know what they're doing. What did they mean when they said that? I do not know. I never know what they meant. All right. How about this? What did Trump mean by this? Now we're going to talk about Israel. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do that tomorrow, actually. I'm going to run out of time. I'm going to play the whole Q&A tomorrow. So we'll talk about Hamas. Is there anything else here? I do want to get Gavin Newsom's response because I thought this was funny. Not a fan of Gavin Newsom, to be clear here. This is not somebody I'm going to put my name behind. I have no intention of voting for Gavin Newsom. I hope it doesn't come down to me having to choose between Gavin Newsom and J.D. Vance. This is a bad candidate for president. We should not vote for Gavin Newsom, but he's right about what he says here.
It was a little nonplussed.
Did it stand out to you that he said Iceland multiple times when he was talking about Greenland?
And that every time a windmill turns, it costs $1,000. A lot of stuff stands out. None of this is normalized. There's a normalization of deviancy and consciousness and, comments and commentary. No other president, he's held to the curve. He's graded on a curve. I mean, it's really some jaw drop.
And like the craziest curve ever, too. If Donald Trump goes out on stage and doesn't audibly shit his pants, MAGA goes crazy. They're like incredible. If he does audibly shit his pants, MAGA says fake news. There's nothing Trump can't do that they won't openly celebrate. This guy can't name the country. He's calling it Iceland. He's talking about putting a golden dome over North America. Nothing Donald Trump said has any semblance of reality. And MAGA's like, love it. That's our guy. Fucking love it. Is that Jack Pussabitch right there stalking Gavin Newsom? Smile once in a while, Pussabitch. Why are you always so grumpy?
Remarkable statements that just, fly in the face of facts and evidence and common sense. So, but you've heard them over and over and over again. For a European audience, that may have been a new speech. My God, there wasn't anything new about that speech for the American audience. The only thing that was new is he said he's willing to negotiate, but wait a sec, that's not new either, because EU's been saying we've wanted to negotiate for over a year.
You criticized world leaders when you got here, saying that some of these...
Yeah, I just thought it was the right answer. Yeah. He's insane, and in America, 35% of the voting base pretends that he's not. That's where we're at. He's clinically insane. He doesn't make any sense. He didn't run on any of this shit. He doesn't have to form coherent sentences. He can get up there and do anything, and they're like, yeah, he owned the libs. Christina Dolphin said, honest question, if the Epstein files are filled with Dems, why not release them? Why fight so hard to release them? I wonder why. There's an easy answer for that. They're lying to you. They know why they're not releasing the Epstein files. It's why they won't answer the fucking question. They know that Donald Trump is covering them up. They don't know exactly what's in there, but they know Donald Trump's covering them up. And what they think is that even when MAGA tells you, when they say things like, it's going to be a bunch of Dems, why didn't the Dems release it? What they're doing is they're projecting. They're saying to you that they recognize their party would never release damning information on them. Therefore, Democrats also wouldn't do that. They're also acknowledging, weirdly, that that's not an argument because Dems aren't in power now. Democrats are not in control and unanimously voted to release the Epstein files. 100% of Democrats from the start voted to release the Epstein files. Only 4 people in the GOP voted to release the Epstein file. It was Thomas Massie, who's a patriot, and 3 women. None of those courageous MAGA men. The 3 women were the only ones with enough courage to stand up to Donald Trump. And that should be surprising to nobody because historically speaking, women in politics are far more courageous than men in politics. And the men in the Republican side looked at these victims, looked at the obvious cover-up from the government, and then looked at Donald Trump, who was threatening them not to vote to release the files, and said, I'm more interested in maintaining power than justice, and so I am going to do what Donald Trump tells me to do because the base of voters is so beholden to him that they will vote against me, Thomas Massie. They will call me a traitor, Thomas Massie, for demanding that the government stop covering up for pedophiles. And in 2026, the GOP is the party who says, let the government cover up for pedophiles. You are not a real patriot. You are a traitor to this country, says MAGA. If you want the government to stop covering up for pedophiles, if you ask the government to release that evidence that they're covering up for pedophiles, Donald Trump and the money behind him come after you. Thomas Massie's one of the most conservative voices you have, and you have turned on him because he has the audacity to say, let's not have the government cover up for pedophiles. That is your party. That is your legacy. The second Trump administration, the first 2 years, will be remembered for mass deportations where the government consistently oversteps their bounds and beats on, abuses, arrests, detains, and tramples on the rights of American citizens. Forever, they will remember an officer in cold blood murdering Renee Good. Forever, history will remember that. History will remember Donald Trump. I think I said pedophiles too much for TikTok. Because, by the way, maybe the owner of TikTok is covering up for that too, perhaps. Perhaps the owner of TikTok doesn't want that information getting out there. Maybe. Second part of this year is going to be the United States government going after strictly their political opponents, spending us into oblivion, creating a private police force for the president of the United States, masked men whose budget dwarfs any other law enforcement agency, an agency that was created to go after terrorists, by the way. That's why ICE exists. It was after 9/11. It was supposed to be the separate agency that was supposed to focus on domestic terrorists. And instead of domestic terrorists, it's decided it's going to go after people who overstayed a visa or people who came across the border illegally. Not really going after violent criminals. In fact, kind of going out of their way not to go after violent criminals. Donald Trump stood on a stage yesterday and showed you picture after picture of violent criminals who had been arrested by ICE. The overwhelming majority of those people were arrested by ICE long before he came into office. And history will remember that. History won't remember the left going, hey, stop beating on citizens. Look at the LA riots. What do we remember from the LA riots? We remember Rodney King. We remember police brutality. In some instances, we might point to different, for example, Asian citizens with rifles on top of their own stores, protecting their store against looters. We might remember that. But you know what we don't remember? You know what we don't ever celebrate? The people who said, just comply with the police. Those people aren't remembered by history. In the civil rights movement, I'm sorry, who's the famous person that said, just comply, that we celebrate now? Who was that during the civil rights movement?
Well, my Uncle Tom, he said that all these people just need to get out of the streets. What's wrong with a little bit of segregation?
No, that guy's a coward. During the civil rights, my favorite story to tell Republicans during the civil rights movement is that you had this guy, this like picture-perfect Republican. He was handsome, he was wealthy, he was an executive at an automotive company. He was a family man, he had a bunch of kids. He was the American dream. He actually came from Mexico. His parents were in Mexico. He grew up part of the time in Mexico, was an American citizen, and he was the front runner for the GOP nomination. And then he had the audacity to march with Dr. King. And then he lost the front runner status for marching with Dr. King. Everything else about him, nothing changed. And that's why Mitt Romney's dad, George Romney, wasn't the president, because he marched with Dr. King. And the rest of the Republicans were like, just comply. We don't need this civil unrest. Why are all these people out in the streets? There's a right way to do this and a wrong way to do this. They were blocking traffic. Can you believe it? They were kind of noisy. Can you believe it? History doesn't remember a single one of those people. The history books don't remember those people. They don't talk about those people as heroes. The heroes are the people who risked their lives. Renee Good, she will be a hero. I know you guys don't want to hear that. I know right now, I know it's going to burst some of your heads right now. But after Renee Good, after the trial of the officer who murdered her, which is going to happen, by the way, Minnesota is going to charge him with murder. He's going to be convicted. It's the easiest case in the history of the world. The federal government can do nothing to stop it. He does not have immunity from being charged by the state of Minnesota. They will charge him. He will be convicted of murder. And after that, Renee Good will be remembered as somebody who was standing up, using her privilege to stand up for other people that were being picked on. Now, Renee Good it was going to be no problem. There were going to be no problems for Renee Good. That's a white lady. Renee Good was fine. She could have stayed at home and been safe. She could have just put up Facebook posts. She could have said nothing. She could have cheerleaded ICE like some of you cucky little bitches do. But she didn't. She used her privilege, and she went out and she fought for people who don't have privilege. And you might not like the way that she fought. You might have thought that like annoying ICE was a dumb thing for her to do. She did it. She was in her car, and she was trying to get away from somebody who tried to assault her, and she was murdered in cold blood, and that is how history will remember it. Even recent history that you guys were all on the wrong side of. Nobody now disputes, almost nobody, I mean, there's still some MAGA, but almost nobody disputes that the killing of Trayvon Martin wasn't unjust. And yet you guys were like, just comply with the neighborhood watch guy. Just comply. Do what George Zimmerman said. Police murdering people in cold blood never winds up being the right thing. Some of you need to learn from history. That's why they teach you history. Because in the moment, sometimes it's not that clear. In the moment, sometimes it feels like this can't be reality. And I think a lot of us feel that way right now. I think a lot of us feel like, wake up and go, I had a conversation before I started the live today with a friend, and we were talking about some unrelated stuff, but then she just said, like, I just didn't think it would be like this. Like, is this real? Talking to an American citizen, by the way, somebody who came here from another country. I won't say the country because that might give it away. Came from another country and is now worried about them and their children being harassed by ICE in their neighborhood. Somebody who voted for conservatives. A lot of us still feel that way. I know I feel that way. Like I live in a pretty safe place. I've yet to see ICE anywhere. If I wasn't seeing it online, I may not believe it, but thankfully, I have really good friends. And thankfully, I have friends who took my opinions that were horrible and sat with me and talked with me and helped me understand that, like, the privilege that I have wasn't gained by anything that I did, but it does exist. I have the privilege right now to stand here and not be scared. If I was Hispanic, you all would call in, like half of you would be calling in ICE right now. ICE would be running my identification. ICE would be watching this stream. ICE would be knocking at my door. If I looked Hispanic, somebody would be here. But because I'm white in America, I get to do this. I get to say whatever I want. I get to call you bitches. I get to call ICE bitches. I get to call Donald Trump a bitch. And if ICE shows up at my door, I get to tell them to go and fuck themselves. But if I was Hispanic, that wouldn't be the case. Because in America, we have ruled that being Hispanic now is enough for somebody, if you are in a location where people have been that are here illegally, and if you have an accent or if you look Hispanic, you now can be detained. So explain that to me. Explain how we're not in a racist country when I can do what I can do because I'm white. And a Hispanic person, a black person, a Somali American doing the exact same thing with the exact same rights I'm supposed to have would not have the same rights as I have. If ICE showed up, they have to show ICE their ID. ICE can detain them. ICE is going to pretend that they have a warrant. They might break down the door. There's no argument against this anymore. We live in a country that is racist, and we've always lived in a country that is racist, but for a long time, the law has been like progressively getting better, where the line between like how we treat white people and brown people has been like, it's been getting smaller, at least. Like the difference has been getting smaller. And then Donald Trump came in and we just reversed course. And we just said, fuck it. If you're white, it's fine. If you're Hispanic, fucking watch it. How many videos are you watching? I watched a little kid yesterday crying at his soccer game because another player on the other team said, I'm going to call ICE. Let's see if I find this. Break my heart. I don't know if I can read this. Give me 1 second. I think I have it. Maybe I just saved it in my tweets. Let me see if I can find this. Sorry, I gotta search for it. Yeah, this is older. I didn't know. I just saw it today. But like, some of you know, I have a daughter. She's in elementary school. Some of her friends are Hispanic, and this is a hand written letter from one friend to another. If ICE takes me, don't forget about me. I'll be in El Salvador. You're my best friend, the brother I never had. I cry every night thinking that they will come for me at school. I don't want to live in a country where kids are writing letters like that. And it's warranted. Why do we want to live like this? There's kids going to school every day, little kids, that every time they see flashing lights, every time they see a police officer, they go, is it my turn? Are they coming for me? And even if they're here legally, they know they can still be detained and they can be abused. I don't want to be in a country like this. I'm pleading with some of you. Can you just explain to me why you can't acknowledge that and say we've got to do a little bit better? I don't want mass deportations. Some of you do. We can do it in a way that that isn't torturous. We can do that. Why does it have to be cruel? I'm delusional. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I think that kids shouldn't feel like ICE is going to bust down their door and send them back to a country they've never lived in. You know, it doesn't have to be this way. It's the cruelty part of it that really fucks me up. And it, frankly, if we're being honest, like this is why this is going to cause a massive backlash against you, Christian conservatives. This is a mark against your religion, and it's a mark against your identity. You want to know why people aren't going to church anymore? It's because of this. Look at the churches in this country that are growing. What churches are they? It's the racist ones. It's the bigot churches. That's the only place church is growing. Church doesn't grow. Churches aren't growing in places where people have empathy. We're literally like protesting church. You had a bunch of people walk into a church to protest them. Izzy is not. It is new what ICE is doing. I think if you're saying like it's nothing new that kids go to school afraid, I think that's true. But the way that ICE is doing this, the way that they're presenting it, the way that they're promoting propaganda, the way that they're celebrating the cruelty, our ability to see it in real time, it is unparalleled. We haven't had anything like this. If that's what you're saying, that like this has been the experience for marginalized communities forever in this country, I agree with that. But like on a nuanced view in terms of like, have we ever done it this way? No, we've never done it this way. And I just don't understand why this is difficult to acknowledge. I don't know why it's difficult to acknowledge that we're doing it in a really like pretty evil way. That we're demonizing groups of people in an incredibly evil way. Watching the response to Nick Shirley's video about Somali immigrants, fucking evil to do it that way. It's fucking evil that Donald Trump now is saying, and we started here, someone's saying like Ilhan Omar needs to be deported. Donald Trump now says we need to get rid of all Somalians. That's evil. There's never, ever, 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 motherfucking ever been a time in history when blaming a group of people and demanding that that group of people be removed based on their ethnicity, there has never been a time that that was the right move. And that's what I don't get. Like, how do you guys not recognize this? I understand the indoctrination that we're all under, conservatives. Everybody's indoctrinated to some extent by however we were taught. But conservatives that, you know, my age and younger, maybe older too, I just can't speak to that. But my age and younger conservatives, we've all been indoctrinated. If you lived in an area where I lived in, yeah, white privilege didn't make any fucking sense. When somebody told me when I was first, like fresh in my first semester in college, somebody brought up white privilege, I was like, shut the fuck up. What are you talking about, white privilege? There's no such thing as white privilege. Like, I grew up in a wealthy community, but I was like the poor person in the community. So I looked at my other friends who were white, who had nicer houses, nicer cars. Their parents could pay for college. They went on vacations. They could do all these things. I'm like, yeah, where's my white privilege? So it didn't make a lot of sense. So I get that. Like I can understand, like from your lived experience, not understanding what white privilege is. But in real time now, for a lot of you, if you haven't moved out, if you haven't experienced that type of privilege, how are you not acknowledging the privilege now? The ringleader of the fraud in Minnesota is a white lady, and we're talking about getting rid of Somalians. None of you even know her name. That's fucking crazy. More of you are saying deport Ilhan Omar, and there is literally not one shred of evidence that links Ilhan Omar to any of this except her ethnicity. And you all say her name, but none of you know the name Amy Bach? Not one of you knows the name Amy Bach. We ask you all the time,
Nick surely didn't know the name Amy Bach. The world's judging. The world's sickened. And you should be sick too. And if we weren't so divided on these party lines, I think you'd be able to see it. But I really don't get how you're watching this and not recognizing this is racist. If you like the racism, I guess acknowledge it. But for those that are at this point being like, no, it's not racist. Some of you, I mean, somebody said, how did she go from $45,000 to having $30 million in 1 year? There's a simple answer for that. She didn't. That's not a real story that you just told. Her husband's company is worth between $6 and $30 million, depending on how you're evaluating it. I believe he runs a hedge fund, which means most of that money isn't his, which means the money that he's getting is for a management fee. And I don't know, you might get 1% on that. So if you have $30 million, he might be getting 1% of that. And people are taking the value of his company and saying that is his net worth. And then they're taking the value of his company as his net worth and then saying, oh, he's married to Ilhan Omar. Therefore, Ilhan Omar must have taken $30 million worth of fraudulent money from people in Minnesota. That's the problem. None of you know what's true, and I don't think you want to know what's true. Thank you guys for reminding me on the time. I do have a hard stop, but I'll finish up. I just today turned on the news, and it wasn't even like rage today. It's frustration. I'm sad. I don't think that there's a way to fix this for a while. I think that we're in this for a long time. Slowly but surely, MAGA will die, whether they'll die of old age or they'll leave the movement. The movement will split. But until this movement splits, we live in a reality where the biggest voting bloc, in this country, and when I say biggest voting bloc, I'm not saying Republicans, Democrats, I'm saying a group of people who votes in unison is MAGA. And it's like 30% of the people that vote. It's an incredible amount of people. And until that 30% becomes 20% or 15%, we live in a country that believes that racism should guide our laws, that it is okay to have racist laws. And that's just the reality that we live in currently. And I fucking hate that. I really fucking hate that. I have thought we had moved, at least in some ways, past that. It seems in the last year and a half, we've gone back 50 years. Charlie Kirk openly said we should undo the Civil Rights Act. There are multiple Republicans saying we should undo the Civil Rights Act. I don't know what you thought was better back then. I don't know who's convinced you that things were better back then, but they weren't. There was more crime. There was more violence. We were more divided. We were more hateful. We were less peaceful. It's just somehow you guys have been convinced that brown skin is a problem. And that if one person with brown skin commits a crime, then that applies to everybody. And that fucking sucks. But we will be back every weekday like we always do. I appreciate all you guys' support here. Let me check messages before I get going. I appreciate you guys doing your part to try and make the country a better place. I appreciate you. Nothing you do is too little. Keep doing whatever you can do each day. Do something. What's up, Jen?
Jumar just sent a Venmo saying a lot of white people have no interest in unpacking.
Yeah, true. I'm going to read a whole bunch here. Amy Lynn said, my 4.2 GPA Hispanic granddaughter, who was a sophomore in Mesa, quit school due to the fear. She's a U.S. citizen born here. Cassandra said, anti-fascists are the ones fighting for rights. True. On the real, can we afford Greenland? We're in debt. I don't know. Hey, Howdy said it's not a curve, it's a circle, talking about how we're judging Trump. Stapleson said Trump is corrupt and incompetent. Phil said Epstein files, anything but the Epstein files. I think I got that one.
Estelle says, did you hear the former nurse Erin Strothman thought? Plead Hillary to breaking 9 newborns' bones and received 3 years. Pled guilty. Okay, I think. Did I hear former nurse Erin Strothman plead guilty to breaking 9 black newborns' bones and receive 3 years? No. Jesus fucking Christ. Will you send that to me, please, Estelle? Jesus. What's this? Crazy how you are the side of political correctness, but I get silenced in your little echo chamber live. You're a fascist for letting your mods silence my free speech. Jay Wizzy's in my DMs. Jen sent it to me crying. I don't know how political correctness would have anything to do with you being silenced. Be tougher next time. Lauren said, blow that gift goal. That's what she said. Sean, thank you for joining the dollar train. I got that one. Robin, thank you for the blue heart. And you said MAGA jerks off to what ICE is doing to us. I honestly think some of them do, to be honest. It wasn't me who said Carney's speech gave me leader envy. Yeah, a wet fart gives me leader envy. In anything, every leader gives me leader envy when it compares to Trump. All right, guys, we'll be back tomorrow morning, every weekday morning, 9:30 or 8:30 a.m. to noon Pacific Standard Time, right here wherever you're watching. Remember, replays it can be found on YouTube and Twitch. There's merch in the bio. Go get yourself. I'll put on the 20% discount again today. I'll do it right now. Go get yourself a healthcare hoodie. And a reminder that with all of this going on as we approach the midterms, the most important thing we could possibly do is make demands to our leadership that they advocate for universal health care and ending Citizens United. So if you want to pick up a healthcare hoodie, we've got them in our merch shop, and I'll throw a 20% promo code on them right now. Take care of yourselves, guys. Bree, do you have a raid set up? Actually, there's a Bree. Is she here? If Bree has a raid set up, great. TikTok, who do we want to raid? Who's live right now?
Attorney Di is live.
There we go. Attorney Di. We haven't rated her in a long time. Good choice. All right, guys. Take care of yourselves. Stay cute and cool, and have a great, great, great summer.